Okay, everyone, finally another update. It's been quite a while since the previous update. Weather has been rather good. I've been doing a lot of the spring fever thing, so progress has been a little slower. But now we're back to normal with lots of rainy weather, and so we're up in the train room again and going to do this update. This is a little item that might be of interest to some, about trees, making trees. I've also seen quite a few films on YouTube about particularly what are called super trees. They look quite good, and you can get them in boxes for something like $25. Here they're probably 25-30 euros for I think 40 or 50, but they work out at 50 cents to $1 each, something like that. But they do look good. But they are just a plant, and I did some research and looked up some forums, and the plant from which super trees are made has an English term called, you can see it's seafoam, and the Latin name is Pteloxys aristata. You can just buy seeds. So I ordered a packet from the local seed merchant here. It cost $2 for 1,500. There you go, 1,500 seeds. I don't know whether that'll be 1,500 trees, but that's a pretty good deal. And you can see here on the blurb on the back that it's also used by model builders, Modelbau. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant a couple of hundred of these, or I don't know how many it'll be, maybe 100 or so, in the garden, and I should plant them around about now, and they can be harvested in October, I believe, September, October. And you have to dry them and conserve them. But one thing I do have a lot of is time, and one thing I do not have a lot of is the cash. So I'm going to try this. I'll plant them and keep you updated, harvest them, and see whether it's worthwhile. Okay. I've been working almost exclusively on this industrial area. And now I have the backdrops mostly completed, and the seaport at the rear there. Just zoom in there with a backdrop of a water scene, harbor scene, cranes, even have a little ship there, some warehousing. They are Metcalf card kits, which are really very good, particularly for back low relief scenes. I'm scratch building a grain elevator. There are the they're PVC piping painted white at the moment, so I need to build the tower and the delivery system to the train cars. That'll be one of the next things I'll be doing. One of my cranes, and then some low relief scenes at the back power station. Northern Light and Power still need to build some warehousing at the rear, industrial units. Built the station for Velzen serving this industrial area. The workers can get on and get off. And of course the Walthus steel mill still need to build. There's the steel plant at the rear, some low relief industrial units for the background and the foreground. Track, I've been having quite a bit of problem with the track, trial and error, trying to fit things in. I added another industry where the Van Gelder paper mill, really it's paper machine, a couple of paper machines, is also in the Velzen area, and they actually do have a spur, so I've added that. This will probably be a de-inking plant. In the 70s they printed newspaper and collected recycled paper, and of course that needs to be de-inked, so this will be a supply and receipt depot and de-inking plant. I have scrap paper and trash coming in, and we'll have boxcars with paper rolls leaving the plant, I think, as industrial activity. So the track plan has been finalized. I've put in the overhead wires for the branch line servicing the station, and I've also put in the block system feedback sensors, so I can actually run some trains, and that's what I've been doing the last day or two, is testing this out in terms of running the trains. I've moved my control station to the side here, and I can now run a couple of trains, which I'll show you in a moment. Okay, so we have our local train here, which needs to go to the steel yard, which we've just been building. And the way it will work is on the throttle, you can select your locomotive, which is this one here, and then you can select where it needs to go. If you see here, let's see if we can see that. There we go. So you can select your locomotive, and you can select then the destination needs to go to. In this case it's steel yard. So we'll select steel yard. So we've, let's see if we can get this in. So we selected steel yard here. That's where the train needs to go. And then we just hit start. You'll hear some switches now being set. So engineers will simply select their destination, and the train will then be taken over by the central system along the main and branch lines and delivered to the particular location. At that point then the engineers can take over the train to do local switching, etc. So it's now entering the steel yard, slowing down. Entering the arrival track, and it's now available for the engineer. So the local has arrived at the steel industrial zone yard, and now the engineer can take over the train, the locomotive, and do the local switching required. So we'll just back it up, because we need to clear the turnout here. We'll make a runaround move, because we need to bring these cars into the paper mill siding here. So we'll back into the cars. Turn the points, so we can back into the paper plant siding here. Okay, the locomotive is now has done its switching task, and if need be, it can now head back to Amsterdam Yard. So on the throttle, all I need to do is select the area it needs to go to. In this case, block 18 is Amsterdam Yard. Start. I needed to set something, so now it's heading back to Amsterdam Yard under control of the central system. It'll basically stop here, which is the entrance to Amsterdam Yard. Okay. Here we have the two commuter trains running on their commuter loop. NS Mat 54 is there at the station, and the other one is at the central station. There we are, it's stopped at the station, started up. Now it has to wait at that block there because the other train is blocking its track at Central Station. So this train will have to reverse and move out before the other train can take up this track, because it's just the one loop that's been programmed. They're both running on the same loop. So it's changed its direction, and now this train is heading out. Once it's cleared the track, i.e. that block is free, then the other commuter train can go into Central Station. There we go. It's now been freed, and it can now take up the same track that the other commuter train took up, going into Central Station. I'll of course be adding signals. There'll be a signal there, and there'll be a couple of signals at the station as well, so that the trains will then have a reason to stop, i.e. the red light, and have a reason to move on, i.e. showing a green light. So now we're again waiting for this track to be cleared by the other commuter train. There we go. And so that can go on literally forever, because each loop has a follow-up of itself, so that'll go on forever until I stop it. And there we have it. Testing, testing, testing. Yeah.